Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
Good afternoon, and you are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV program called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and happy with Dr. Marissa, and today is my 9-year anniversary. Weeks on the air, and I'm going to quickly take a call from my station manager. Mark, you're on the air.
It's actually
Oh, I am. So I did start just like 30 seconds late, but it should be there. So we want to make sure we get it. Okay, but it should be there. All right, okay. So we want to make sure we get it. Okay. So that was my station manager. That was my station that was my sound engineer at my CNBC NBC News Radio channel, KCAA, M1050, FM 102.3, and FM 106.5 every Friday, drive time 3 p.m. And he just found it. I'm so glad that you're here. We also have a special guest who is also having some technical difficulties getting on the screen. So this is, 471 consecutive weeks later, we are definitely having, you just never know what's going to happen. But thank you so much for tuning in. This is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. We already have Eva Atkinson from Kentucky saying happy anniversary, Dr. Marissa, and Wilfredo Otero. Thank you so much for celebrating this very, very important time with me. And Jessica, if you can hear me, it says you're not connected. So could you disconnect and then try that link again and make sure your settings allow StreamYard to hook you in? Because that was the plan. So some of you know this is a very special day. Not only is it Mother's Day weekend, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there and all those who have acted as mothers and are a mother. I am also releasing my newest baby in my family, a short film, and we're going to be watching that. This will be the premiere, the film debut of the new PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that with you today. So that's what the plan is. Go ahead and share this everywhere you are so that we can have more and more people. If you'd like to actually come on and say hi and put you on camera, just put your desires on the chat, and then I will give you the link and you can come on and say hi, since this is a very, very special day. So let's see if I can, Jessica, I don't have you on camera, but let's see if I can hear you. Jessica, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, but I don't have you on camera. But
okay.
That's okay for now. If you could have Patrick maybe troubleshoot, it's some people say they have to go on their settings to allow for the camera.
Yes, he's working on that at the moment, so bear with us and switching.
That's all right.
Other laptop.
So we see you moving with your speech pattern. But I would like to introduce you to a beautiful, wonderful, and you'll see as soon as your camera comes on, my Limitless Women speaking partner, and she was a guest of mine. I interviewed her on the red carpet. We began talking. We envisioned a tour together. It came together. We were in China together, in the Philippines. We were on ABS-CBN with Karen Davila, the Philippine Oprah, with the Asian Oprah. And Jessica is the first armless pilot. She has the Guinness World Book record for that. She was born without arms, but she does not let that get in her way at all, as anyone who knows about her and her short film and Right-Footed. Please welcome to my studio, Jessica Cox Chamberlain. And there we go. There's your official welcome. Thank you so much, Jessica, for coming on. Oh, now we lost her. This is funny. So I think probably this is a good time for us to, and just to let you know, there's going to be Asian Oprah giveaways this entire show, celebrating 9 years. And I'm going to tell the story of how this show came to be. And then, so let's just start with the first one. I think I am going to give both Eva and Wilfredo, the first Asian Oprah giveaway is either your choice of my children's book, Mommy What Are Feelings? And those of you who know, this is part of my nonprofit called 8 Ways to Happiness. And every feeling has a taste, touch, sight, and sound drawn by my daughters when they were 5 and 7. So this is actually frustrating, which is what I would be if I weren't so happy today with the technology. But anyway, so this is valued at $25, and you get a children's book, Eva, and you get a children's book, Wilfreda, or you get an audiobook copy of 8 Ways to Happiness. So go ahead and put in the chat which one you want, and we'll get that to you. So feel free also to comment and answer questions or ask questions. I did get a question already. How did you become the Asian Oprah? And some of you already know that story. But for those of you who don't, I became the Asian Oprah, actually. Oh, yay, there's Jessica. Let me get this one out. Remove. Yay! Where there's a will, there's a way.
Thanks for being persistent. Yes.
Hey, that is a good word. Here. Jessica Cox is in Arizona, I believe still. Yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
In hot Arizona.
In hot Arizona.
It's 100 degrees today.
That's why I don't live in Arizona. So how are you? It's so good to see you.
Doing good. It's been a very interesting last year. Obviously, in the speaking industry, as a full-time speaker, we've pivoted and turned things virtually. But it has definitely been an adapting process, which is what it's all about, you know, adapting to the changes that happen and really making it work to continue to pump out the inspiration, pump out the motivation. And fortunately, we just learned a lot in the last year. And now, as of 2 weeks from today, we'll be taking off on my first in-person speech over the last year. So it's interesting. It has been it will be interesting to be back on the road again and on stage.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the break?
Yes, actually, it was a great time to do some of the things that I never really get to do because I'm always on the road most of the year, traveling to places, speaking all over the world. And finally being at home, we got to do some things like we completely renovated the house and modified it to make it even easier for me to use. I started to learn how to cook more, which is interesting, cooking with your feet, you know, and Then
you burn your feet?
I did. I think
You
I
do?
burned I maybe once, but you know, that's part of the learning process.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I make a lot of reservations. So COVID's been really good for me to learn how to cook and enjoy it as well. So
I'm with you there.
that is for sure. So if you've just tuned in, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. This is my 471st consecutive week on the air, on camera, and we are celebrating because it is my 9-year anniversary. I'm so grateful. I cannot believe, like, it would seem like yesterday that I was woken up at 4:30 in the morning and the voice said radio. And I'm like, radio? Why would I want to do radio? That was never on my bucket list or my bathtub list because that's bigger. I was doing some TV commentary and radio, but the voice was very insistent. And at 4:30 in the morning, it kept saying radio, radio. And I'm like, can we talk about this later? It's 4:30 in the morning. But that voice is very insistent. So I got up, sat at my computer, and I literally wrote in 44 minutes. I wrote the manifesto for the show, the name of the show, tongue in cheek, take my advice, I'm not using it, came at that moment, a list of all the guests, Melody Beattie, Dr. John Gray, Michael Bernard Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh, like a pretty Layla Ali, pretty long list. And I've had every single guest that I had on that list, with the exception of one, and that's His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but he's not giving radio interviews or show interviews like this anymore. So, but I did get a nice message from him. But so 471 weeks later, I would have never believed that I would have had Don Wells on 5 times, who became a friend, Marianne from Gilligan's Island. I would have not believed that I would have had you, who I didn't even know at the time, our paths would not have crossed, Corey Feldman, the cast of Happy Days, Potsy, Ralph Malph, Mrs. C, Mrs. Cunningham, the mom from E.T., all these really super, I had the most recent one, and he just passed, was one of the Chicago 7. Did you watch that on Netflix?
I heard about it, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, the Trial of Chicago 7. And I had one of the original Chicago 7 on Rennie Davis, and he just passed like a couple weeks after our interview. So they found stage 4 cancer ravaging. So it was, but the fact that I was able to interview him, I had Chris Wark, who healed himself from cancer with vegan diet. I had Fran Drescher, who talked to us about how to reduce your risk of cancer. I'm going through all my things that I remember show. So if I forget, I already said you, but if you're listening and you're one of my past guests and I'm not saying your name, that does not mean anything. I have a memory stick, but I'm out of space. But I know that I've just been so blessed with that voice saying that, and the next thing you know, I'm at 9 years. So I'm just so blessed and grateful. What do you remember about being interviewed by me?
Oh, I remember that day because we were stuck in the middle of traffic driving up to Burbank, and it was like we were like panicking, not so sure if we were going to make it, and then we rolled right into the studio. And remember how we did the foot 5? Because you wanted to show everyone how you handshake with someone who doesn't have hands, and we did the foot bump right there in your studio, and it was funny. I remember that.
That is funny. I should.
Yeah.
I don't have it to pull it up, but it was great. I hope I have it somewhere. Because you're right. That was a great moment. I only have 50,000 videos in my phone, so I'll be able to find that pretty quickly. So, well, I'm just so delighted that you were able to join me today. you also have a film about you, and I want to make sure everybody gets to watch that. Tell us the name of the film.
So there's a film on Amazon Prime right now called Right Footed, and anyone can watch it who has Amazon Prime. It's free, and you just search in Right Footed, 2 words, and it'll pop right up, and you'll see a picture of me in an airplane, and it tells the whole story of how I became the world's first armless pilot, and getting married to my now husband Patrick, traveling the world as a speaker, and doing a lot of work with disability rights in places around the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. So yes, I watched it. I loved it. And I want to say that led to me making the short film, but actually that was a little while back. But I did just complete after 4 months. I again woke up with the words. So this is another one of those weird things. Never planned to do a short film, never planned to be a filmmaker, but it is one of those hashtag COVID silver linings where when I was on the road, as you know, we don't have time to be shooting films, right? Mm-hmm. So that idea was not even a possibility. But it is so exciting to see this baby get birthed after 180 hours of love.
Wow. And
my fabulous film editor is in India. So 100 of those hours were spent between 11 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. this last month. But it is done. And I know there's people waiting for the film, so I am just going to go ahead now. And I see the hearts. Thank you so much. We're just going to play it. And I asked Jessica not to watch it until now, and so that she can give me her reactions after she watches it. And please do check into the comments wherever, if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, just go ahead and check in and comment. And if you'd like to come on camera after the movie to give it a couple thumbs up, no thumbs downs, but any comments that you have, I'll bring you on camera. All right? So here we go. We are going to introduce, it's called The New PPP. Enjoy.
My name is Daisy Robinson. As a scientist, I'm using my mind to take on challenges with the body.
It's been a tough, horrible, unanticipated, unprepared for, crappy year called the pandemic. But before we rush back to normal, a normal where there were a lot of overworked, underpaid, angry, frustrated, and depressed people who hated their jobs and lived for their weekends, can we consider a new normal? Take a breath with me. And consider a new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities. What if informing to the world was exploring the world? What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life do you want to explore? What if there was another way to grow up believing in yourself so that you don't have to attend the school of hard knocks? What if the current push to do well in subjects that you are not good at, or choose a school that you can't afford, or to declare a major when you are still a minor in life are not the pressures that cook us raw? What if there was another career path where words like rat race and dog eat dog and climbing or clawing our way to the top are not in our career ladder vocabulary? What if big business control and imbalance, resulting in people stuck in jobs they hate, contributing to dreams that are not their own, were BS belief systems that had to be called out, like cookies that had to be deleted in our mind browser? What if the lesson in the pandemic is that the trajectory that we've been on needs a hard reset? What if the real violence in our society is currently structured to help a few and hurt many? What if we could say, help our own and help others in the same breath? What if we grew up with global patriotism instead of warring nationalism and not afraid of helping socialism? What if we were taught how to see past skin color and learn how to value others for who they are? What if you were taught how to value who you are, especially when value was not found growing up at home? What if I knew I was important without anyone telling me? What if I knew that I was of value so that I didn't have to go around asking people to appraise me? What if world peace started with an okayness with ourselves, who we are, and what we think in the imperfect, perfect persona?
I'd like to invite you to watch a live demonstration of the superconscious method
that is flat on this world. What if we learned self-care skills so that we wouldn't thrash about so much when we were in the middle of the dis-ease with life? What if we could care for others without hurting myself? What if we valued ourselves enough to take care of our own selves, our body, our mind, and our soul? What if we each took responsibility for our own choices and quit blaming others when we insist dragging our past along with us as an excuse to behave badly? What if we learned relationship skills as soon as we learned addition, subtraction, and how to dissect a frog? What if we knew that all life was valuable, even when we disagreed on how people were living? What if we cut people some more slack when we know they should know better, but because of their own humanness, they temporarily missed a table? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time, have relationships that we enjoy most of the time, and use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death? What if there is nothing to be afraid of? What if everything that happens to us is for our divine and best good, even if it doesn't feel good? What if death is not that big of a deal? What if the concept of death is not the hill we want to die on? What if tragedy is not really tragic? What if people dying in tragedy has purpose in releasing more love that we may have trapped inside our minds and our bodies? What if challenges that we face because of skin color or physical limitations or gender or our differences are all conditions that can grow and chisel and elevate us into the most magnificent of sculptures? What if I can turn every single bad, shitty thing that ever happened to me into rich fertilizer to birth and grow all of the potential that I was born with? What if life does not suck? What if I knew I was one of a kind wonderful, that I had a unique gift, talent, and ability to unleash on life one glorious year, day, month, and season of life? What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with the new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? Well, you can. You can rise. You can live in my what if. It just starts with choosing happiness. Choosing to love this thing called life. And drop the rock of BS belief systems that have tricked you into thinking that you are not enough. Because all of this is possible if you choose to believe in you first and foremost. Because the buck stops right over here with you, with me, and with us. The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what ifs become possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with
$2.5 billion. That's how much the coaching and consulting industry is worth every year. And yet, the vast...
Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, broadcasting live from this thing called life, trying to get you to drink my rose-colored Kool-Aid and join my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years.
That's beautiful. Wow.
You like it?
Yes. Congratulations.
I love watching your reaction. I love watching your face watching it. I'm so glad I asked you on because I haven't been able to see anybody's reaction, right, in person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been super nice about, their reaction afterwards with words, but to watch it on your face, thank you so much, Jessica.
You're so welcome. I really loved so many of those little nuggets in there that were amazing. I think the one impossibilities into I'm possible, I love that one. And the chiseling away how our challenges actually add to our life. I loved that perspective. And there's just so many out there. Those are just two to name a few.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did you like the dog? That's one of my favorite.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the ad, I obviously I didn't mean to monetize it, but the ads that came on, but luckily, you still sort of got it, the gist of it, even with the interruptions. I'm like, the ad's coming up, what? But yeah, I'm so grateful that, literally, the idea of before we go back to normal, that I woke up with 4 months ago, literally the 27th of April, 4 months before that, the 27th of whatever that month was. And so I had the idea, I told a couple of people, but I didn't have the words. And, this is what we talked about when we were talking it on tour, right? Like sometimes we try to make plans and we think that, let's do this. And then because when we first talked about going to China, it was, well, you know, maybe, and then, well, it's, you know, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Anyway, and then we're in China, you know, and it just, because everything happens for our divine and best good, and everything happens if we're hooked into that energy. You know, the more we try to force things to happen, the more miserable we are. And the more, you know, it's like, really, it's not happening. So when I relaxed into, okay, this is not my idea. Obviously, I was inspired by the powers that are out there, the energy that creates the worlds, and make sure the planets didn't crash together last night, and gave me the idea. And then literally like maybe 3 weeks later, I woke up with all the words. All those words came out in like maybe less than an hour. And I just sat and I wrote. I didn't write. I dictated it into my phone. And then I had it, and it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Now, I will have to credit two people. Amanda Gorman, when she spoke at the inauguration, I was blown away. I was like, oh my God. She used words to help me picture this amazing America with her words. So she was the first one. And then Pluto, who was on the Agape International Spiritual Center stage, I called him Agape's own Amanda Gorman. He also is a poet. And he just was like, blew me away with his words. And so it was after that I woke up with the words. So I had the idea, but I didn't have the words. And then I heard him, and then I woke up with the words. And I wrote them down. I sent them to a friend who's a friend of an executive at a big broadcasting company. And she said, let me send these words. And I said, no, don't send the words. I feel like there's, you know, it can have pictures, because I love, you know, I do those little stupid, you've seen me do that.
Memes.
Yeah, the little ads, and I love putting stuff to film and people's birthdays. And I think I put one together for you, and, you know, all those little things. And even TikTok, I'm ashamed to admit, but it's like, why don't I put all the words with visual and make a film? And that's how this came about. And next thing I know, I have this beautiful, inspiring reflection of what I really believe and what I really want to see. Like, wouldn't it be great if every kid who didn't believe in themselves could watch this and have hope? That's what people are asking me now. What do you want to do with this? That's what I want to do. I want to make sure that every single kid who doesn't feel like they're important, or that everything is impossible, or that, you know, they had pain in their life, and so, you know, they're never going to catch up. I want them to know I was that kid, right? Look, you were that kid. When we were interviewed in the Philippines, you know, you had emotional support, but not physical, you know, full physical ability. I had full physical ability, but no emotional support. That's why Jessica and I fit so well speaking. But that's what I want. Where do you see this? What do you see for this?
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned Amanda Gorman, because she was so incredibly inspiring. She's speaking, before I forget, I want to mention that she's speaking at a virtual women's conference that I'm speaking at next week.
You're kidding! Woohoo!
PWBC, if you want to look that one up. They have a virtual women's conference from the 11th through the 15th. So that's going to be wonderful. Anyone can access it from anywhere. There are tickets online, I believe. PWBC. WBC.com. Maybe .com. I'm not 100% sure. You can. Does it come up?
I'm just typing it on the ticker tape that's going to go up. So I'm not looking at it, but I'm just so that people can know to get directed there. Here, let me, this is the beauty of internet. What is it?
PWBC, Professional Business, I'm sorry,
Professional
PB.
Business Women of California.
Yes, Professional Businesswomen of California.
It is .org. It is .org. Okay. So does it say, is it join us to ignite change May 11th to 13th?
That's it. Yes,
All right.
and Amanda Gorman's one of the speakers.
That's so awesome. Good for you. Well, you're going to be fabulous too. I'm just envious that I wasn't invited.
I know. I'll have to let them know maybe for next year. I'll let them know.
All right. So there's the ticker. I put it on the ticker. So that's great. That's great. Yeah, she definitely inspired me, and I hope she inspired a lot of hope in young people and artists. I think artistry is definitely people say, but I'm not creative. And I say everybody is creative. Everybody has the ability to be creative because everybody's taken a breath and you're alive. So if you're alive, you can be creative. You don't necessarily have to be a Lady Gaga or an Amanda Gorman, but you have creativity. And especially if you're sensitive, if you've been told all your life, you're so sensitive. I take that as a compliment now because that's 100% creative. Did you know that? That was that's a statistic actually. But I am going to take a quick break to thank the sponsor of today's show. She's a supporter of mine. She has been for many of years. And she's also, I wanted to highlight Asian business because of what's been going on. So we'll be back in 2 and 2. Please enjoy and go, if you're in LA, to May's Restaurant.
Want delicious Vietnamese Asian fusion cuisine that is so good for your health you won't believe your taste buds? OLAC is a 100% plant-based vegan restaurant founded by Mai on living foods and a love for animals that won't make you sacrifice taste for health. 2 locations to delight you, downtown LA and Fountain Valley. So go to www.olac.com, AULAC, to book your reservation today. Saving the planet has never tasted so good.
All right. And we are back to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced, get happy with Dr. Marissa every Friday at primetime, drive time, 3 p.m. on my CNBC, NBC News Radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, streaming at kcaaradio.com, exclusive home to the Asian Oprah, and then on demand everywhere you find podcasts. So from Tiki Live to Amazon Music to Spotify to Spreaker to Stitcher to blah, 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 blah. I could go on for the rest of the show, but wherever you are tuned in, please tune in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it because I actually do use some of the advice, and I am so vested in everyone possible within the sound of my voice to be 88% happy, because it's always world peace through inner peace. So if we can't be happy, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anybody to approve of you? So that was the message that I hope came through in that short film that I just debuted and released. It almost seems like because it was a labor of love for sure. But the good news is, Jessica, it's been entered in 7 film festivals.
Wow.
So you can keep your fingers crossed to me. And this is another thing. I didn't plan on entering any film festivals. I had no clue what I was going to do with this. And so I asked, I always ask. And then the voice said film festivals. Don't know anything about film festivals. I looked it up, found this thing called Film Freeway. And guess what day the deadline was for the festivals? The day after it was done.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yes.
Right? So tell me that isn't crazy. My life is this series of, I call the hashtag Naxcidental, right? Not accidental.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So
personally, since that struck you about the tragedies, I think that I think those who did not see my interview with you might do with a little, since I have you on, just with a little, you can, this is your rehearsal for speaking next week.
Okay.
So tell me, how did you end up with no arms?
I was born without both of my arms, so for no no genetic reason, just one of the fluke things that happens in development. As I was supposed to develop arms about that stage in my mother's pregnancy, they just never grew. So I came out as a shock to my parents, as a shock to the doctors, but they really, my parents really stayed strong, and they gave me the foundation I needed to succeed in life and continue to grow up and feel like I had everything I needed. And I just happened to be a little different. I did everything with my feet, learning to use my toes as my fingers and my feet as my hands. But as I grew up, it was sometimes more of the difference and the societal pressures and difficulties of being accepted that were more difficult than the physical challenges of learning to use my toes and my feet. But then I realized that this was a gift, standing out, and I decided to become a speaker, and now have been speaking for 15 years in 27 countries. So it's been wonderful. It's been a blessing.
Amazing. And you have a book?
Yes, Disarm Your Limits, the flight formula to lift you to success and propel you to the next horizon. And that is on Amazon.
Cool. And, you know, I use Jessica very, very freely. Anytime I have a coaching client who says I can't do it, and I say, I don't want to hear that. If my friend Jessica can do what she's doing without arms, then you have absolutely no sympathy from me, because I just think it's wonderful what you've done. And you just put your own video out about how to make your bathroom more, how did you call
it? Accessible, and modify different things about it. And that's when you commented, and I appreciated you watching that video. It took a lot of thought to completely remodel the bathroom, just tear it down to the studs and start back with a whole new build in the bathroom so that we can make it work for myself and my husband. And we had to accommodate both of our needs. And my needs were unique because I need everything low to the ground. So the shower knobs had to be lowered. We had to have a bench put in. I even have a tornado body dryer, which is essentially like a body-sized blow dryer. And that's what I use.
That's funny. I want to come visit and use that.
Yes, if you come out to Arizona, you're more than welcome to try it out. It works pretty good. It only takes 60 seconds longer than if you were to towel dry, apparently.
Interesting. I just had that visual of Marilyn Monroe standing on top of that thing that blew up her dress. Sorry. That's just where my head went. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on today and why I have this new outfit on, did you see this new outfit?
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's got a dragon on it because they didn't have the one with the phoenix, which is actually my Chinese name, Feng. But the dragon is the partner to the phoenix in balance. So since I'm entering my 9th year on the air, I figure I went from Phoenix. I'm done with rising as Phoenix, and now I'm into my dragon mode, which is not bad breath, but it is, exercising my power. And I am celebrating today 471 consecutive weeks. I have my speaking partner and friend Jessica Cox here, and that's what you've been listening to. I just released the new PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities. I believe in hashtag Accidental. If you've just tuned in and you are a producer or you're someone who is looking for film material that is motivational or inspiring to kids or young adults or anybody who wants to not necessarily go back to normal to what they were doing, then contact me at drmarissa.life. And I told people that I would be giving Asian Oprah giveaways. So this is 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. This is another thing that came out of a voice. Believe it or not, I lost a $200,000 project, consulting project, and the voice said, write. And I'm like, I don't have time to write. And the voice said, you do now. And it has a sense of humor. So I sat down, I wrote for 1 week, didn't get up. Well, I got up, but 1 week, and I finished the first chapter out of loneliness into hope, the last chapter out of control into happiness. And what happened was the next day on Monday, I got an email or a message. Someone from LinkedIn said, I watch motivational speakers on LinkedIn. Are you writing anything? I don't know if I told you the story. So are you writing?
I remember that story.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I just finished. So I sent him the 2 chapters, and the next day he sent me a contract. Now, I didn't go with that publisher. I had 2 more offers, but that's how this book got written. So the Asian Oprah giveaway is you get an audiobook, and you get an audiobook, and you get an audiobook. So the first 3 people that go to drmarissa.life get a free audiobook of this #1 bestseller, 8 bestseller list, #4 on Denver Post. Unbelievable. Came out of losing a $200,000 consulting project. So there you go. All right. Now, I can't have you on this show without talking about another important thing that I've been addressing, because you are Asian, you have Asian background. How has all of this hate crime stuff been hitting you? I don't know. I've had 3 shows now on hashtag Stop AAPI Hate. And, I don't know who's been reaching out to you. People have been reaching out to me, not sure what to say, but I am using the platform to sort of prime people on what to say when they're going through something. I also got hired to facilitate the city of Santa Monica's listening sessions for the community to talk about how they're feeling about all this stuff that's going on. But how are you feeling with all that?
Well, I actually had a personal friend, a young girl who I mentor. I remember her sharing on her Facebook page how she was attacked and verbally attacked and emotionally attacked. And of course, because I consider myself her mentor, I felt very hurt for her. And really, that's the only time it really, I think it hit me personally, is hearing what her experience was about. And I think hate is just absolutely horrible. And I don't, the fact that she was specifically victimized, and obviously the whole community of Pacific, and I'm half Filipina. So I obviously identify with the community, and it's just so horrendous that I've just done the best I can to continue to be out there, to be public, to share a very positive message, to help to overcome some of those stigmas and overcome hopefully some of the hate and the misunderstanding. And I think if people can come from a position of understanding and acceptance, it will help us to rid some of the hate that exists. And so that's what I continue to do, is I made it an effort to continue to educate and advocate as someone who is Pacific Islander, and to open the eyes of many people that we want to be accepted, and we want to be loved, and we want to be understood. And we're, just like anyone else. And the fact that that our exterior, our how we look is victimizing us. It's just horrible. And I just hope to continue to, be the positive voice in all this, to hopefully open up the eyes of those people who may not have been aware of, and who are closed-minded, I should say.
Yeah, I tend to like the ones who are doing the crime. I can't work with that, because if they're that far into hate based on the color of my skin, I'm wasting my breath. So those who went and marched on Capitol Hill, a large majority of those are touting the hate, right, for any color that's not white. And so I like, I don't get my time back, so I like to maximize use of my time. The great news is there's a lot of white Americans out there who you just said are not aware of how bad it is, maybe, or how they can really be part of the solution. And so that is definitely the group that I'm trying to reach and to appeal to, those who don't think that they're racist, but are unaware of some of the ways that they say things that might come across like the ones who I've seen that, on social media. Someone just called me a racist. How dare they call me a racist? I eat Chinese food and I have Japanese friends. And you want to just actually, I know that is supposed to be a sign that you like the differences, but minimizing someone's culture to food is not exactly, very respectful either. So it's been a really, it is multiple, points of change and reflection, right? We have to be aware of it first, but then we have to be willing to change. And I wanted to ask you a specific question on that, because the last guest I had on, we were talking about people of color helping people of color. So the Black African Americans and Asian Americans helping in this whole effort to end racism. I'm going to add your group, and you are an activist for people with disabilities, and I think that's great. I watched a Crip Camp.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
wow, that was powerful, man. Watch it.
Wasn't it?
You have to watch Crip Camp, Chicago 7, and 13th. Those are our required watching for any Dr. Marissa listeners. So I'm going to say, wouldn't it be great if now the invitation was people of color, African American, Asian American, and those with disabilities to join in this effort to end prejudice, hate for differences, right? Racism. What do you, abilityism? What would the
Ableism.
Ableism. I knew there was something in there. So ableism is a real thing, right? I mean, I was shocked at what the activist had to go through to get all the things that we take for granted now. Have you met her?
I have. I actually know. I met her many years ago when I was on the Hill, helping to speak with senators about the International Disability Treaty. So lobbying through the halls of the Senate for the International Disability Treaty, and there was. I was fortunate to meet Judy Heumann and then get to know her over the years, and what a tremendous role model she is for so many of us. And then I didn't know anything of her story until I watched Crip Camp. And the moment I watched that, I just couldn't help but give her a call and say, wow, that was a tremendous, wonderfully done documentary. And I had no idea. It's funny, I've known her all these years and didn't know her whole history. So I was sure to reach out. Yes. Please invite her on my show. Please, next time you talk to her, I would love to highlight and spotlight her. I just, people who are beneficial presence on the planet award times a gazillion, which is, it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. So we're up at the end of the hour, end of the show. What is the my regular question?
What are you most grateful to or for? And because it's my 9-year anniversary, I'm going to answer that question too. So you go first.
I am grateful for our friendship and staying connected since we met first on the Think and Grow Rich tour, and in how we have grown our friendship to speak on tour in China. The dream came true, and there we were, and it was such a magnificent trip and so much fun in between the speeches as well to see a country I've never been to. So I was grateful for that, and congratulations again on your 9 years
Thank
today.
you so much. We're about to end. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful to my UPS man, my universal power source, who delivers whenever I pray and meditate, and connected to the power all of you are connected to. You are loved, loving, lovable, and wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. We'll see you next week. This is Dr. Marissa signing out. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.